Hi everybody, Steve Cady here, and welcome to our course webinar. It's our introductory course webinar. It's an overview of the class, and it's a check-in. I do this periodically throughout the semester in the class. For us, we'll do this tonight, and then we'll probably have two more over the course of the semester. And so, again, welcome to our session tonight. And here's a couple things. One, I'd like to know how you're doing. So one cool feature I wanted to share with you is to create and I waited to do this because I want you to see how it's done. I'm going to create a Google document that's a place for us to talk. And if you haven't done this before, this is great for working in teams. You can do Google Slides or Google Docs, and you can create all kinds of, you can do a lot of joint work with other people. So we'll call this the 3610 Summer 16 intro webinar notes and discussion. And then I come in here and I can create share, and I can click advanced, and I come in here and say where change, and I want to be anybody with a link can edit. Let's do that. I save that. I then take that link right there and I say done. I come over to the chat feature and I put that into the message and send it out to you all. And now you can come over. So come on over. If you go look in the GoToWebinar control panel chat, click on that link, come on in to here, notes and discussion. Yeah, people are starting to show up. And then what I'll do is I'm going to put do this numbering here. And so hang tight, and then I'm going to do this here. So if you could pick a number and put your name in. Oh, so hang tight. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put my name in. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to go Steve Cady. And then what I'd like to know, my question for you tonight is, what's your reaction to the class thus far? Reaction to class thus far. And then the other question I have for you is, what's the question you bring tonight that if answered would be really helpful to you in terms of getting off to a great start? So I'd love to know that, and all you got to do is hit enter and tab. After you type your name in, hit enter and tab, and then you can answer the two questions. And again, welcome everybody that's showing up. We are over in the chat room. I'll put it, if you go into the chat feature on GoToWebinar, you can see a link there that will take you to this Google Doc. And in the Google Doc is where we'll have a simultaneous conversation. And I'll help Irene here. Irene, I'm going to hit enter. That's interesting. I'm going to go up here like this, Irene. I hit enter and tab. And watch what happens. See, if I go back here and I hit backspace, hit enter. Now you get it kind of numbered. It makes your life, it makes it a little bit easier. And so, like Emily, you can just hit. I'm gonna do this here for you, and boom, hit tab, and there you go. So if you hit enter and tab, that'll allow you to type a few things, and it'll keep it underneath your name. The other thing that we're gonna do is you also get extra credit, as I mentioned, for attending. And if you go into the class and go into the modules, you'll see extra credit. And there's a discussion forum in here, down here, under extra credit. I'm going to make it, you can view it, or make it live. And then in here, basically, you can, after tonight, go in and pose your response to the questions there. And that's where we will basically, if I have another online session, you'll go back there and pose another post. And I'll grade all your posts at the end of the semester, and you get up to 30 points. And so we got that. We've got our document here. And my other question is, who's willing to chat with me live? So great. I got a few people. Awesome. So Casey, I'm going to unmute you, Courtney, and Elizabeth. And if anybody else wants to join me, you get extra credit for joining me, and I'm extra credit. So I'm going to unmute Casey. Hi, Casey.
Yeah.
And
hello.
Hi. And Courtney, hi.
Hi.
And then Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hey. So you all can mute
Sorry.
yourself, you can mute yourself in the control panel on GoToWebinar if you need to. If you're in a very quiet place, you don't have to do it. But if there's background noise, you can mute yourself and then unmute when I talk with you. I'm going to have you all talk live and kind of share your thoughts and talk with me. And then what I'm going to do is I want to get everybody down here in the discussion to kind of tell me what's your reaction to the class, and then what is your question you bring tonight that would be helpful to you if it was answered. So, so with that, I think I'll start up here with Casey. Casey, so tell me what's your reaction to the class thus far, and what's the question you bring tonight?
I'm kind of ready for this class because I've taken Management 3050 with you before, so I know that it's a lot of work, and I kind of know the gist of things and how they roll, and it's going to require a lot of everybody to stay on top of things and pull their own work.
Great. So
So I think
when did you take this class with me?
fall semester
Oh, so
of 2000.
you were in the live class.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So where did you sit? I'm trying to remember what team were you in?
I was in Team Foul Can Do.
Okay, you guys did a nice job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're part of the class. It's a little different because it's all online, but
Yeah, which is probably going to be my biggest struggle, but it'll be all right.
yeah, I try to keep everything very well structured, and very clear due dates and those kinds of things. And lots of reminders and all that. So hopefully, the way it's set up, it should help you stay on task and stay ahead of the game. Hopefully,
Yeah.
that's cool. So, did you do well in my class?
Yeah, I think so.
Good,
I
good.
think. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, you obviously didn't do bad. You remembered that. So,
Yeah, I'm back.
so, so that's good. Very good. So, do you have any questions that you bring tonight?
I don't think so, no.
If
I've been over the syllabus and I watched the video, so I kind of understand everything.
great. So, if you had a question, what do you think it might be?
What's your suggestions for time management and keeping on top of things?
Uh, I would say number one is on Tuesday. The course goes through kind of a 2 week cycle. You have chapters over the course of the 2 weeks, and you have due dates on those chapters, and you have a discussion forum that's due at the end of the first week, and then you have a group discussion to have during the second week of the cycle. And then after that cycle of the first 2 weeks, you go to weeks 3 and 4, and you have your content, and then you have your discussion. You post a discussion, and then you discuss things with your group. So my suggestion for you in time management is just jump into the chapters, answer the questions, work on the stuff starting right away, um, and just get things done a day ahead of time as opposed to the day of, and not try to cram it. But I'd say just try to get things done by the end of the week before Friday, if you can, so you can have your weekends off. Use the weekends as a motivator, saying like, if I get everything done, I can enjoy my weekend and not think about the class until Tuesday of next week. So that would be my encouragement to you. So I'm glad you're in the class, Casey, and let's go to the next person, Courtney. What are your thoughts?
Well, I took this class, well, I took Management 3050 last summer, and it was pretty much the same setup as this one. So I don't think it'll be too bad. It just requires a lot of time and staying on top of things.
And did you take it with me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. It's very interesting. Okay. Did you have a good experience?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Cool. Any advice
I
to
think, yeah, because you were
any
out.
advice to the students that from the class?
Um, Definitely do the readings. I know you were we didn't have a textbook because you took a bunch of textbooks and had made kind of your own.
Right.
But staying on top of that and really reading everything ahead of time and doing it before Sunday when it's all due is a lot easier, and it's a lot easier to kind of understand the material if you take it piece by piece instead of trying to do it all in one day.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. So a few people have joined us. Welcome. If you look in the GoToWebinar control panel, look under the chat feature, you'll see a link there. If you click on that link, it'll bring you to this document here, and we're using this for all of us to take notes. All you got to do is go in and grab a number like 5 or 7 or 9 or 10. Put your name in, and we're at 2 questions are, what's your reaction to class thus far, and what's a question you bring tonight? So for those of you that are here, I want you to join us over here on the discussion board, note-taking in Google Docs. Share with me your reaction and your question you bring tonight, and we'll go from there. Elizabeth, well, how about you? What's your reaction to class, and what's your question you bring?
Well, I took Management 3050 last semester, but I had Karen Ebach for it. So this is a new experience for me, and I was really impressed with this webinar tonight. I've never done anything like it, but it's been really interesting so far.
Oh, that's cool. I think what's important is there's a lot of online meetings that are going to be held as you get into your profession. What's your job that you're going to be doing? What's your dream job?
Well, right now I have an internship, and I'm doing HR work at the Zeph Center, and my dream job would probably be doing more HR work, but for like a hospital.
Gotcha. Well, you'll be doing a lot of webinars and online meetings and using these kind of synchronous documents here to save time and money. Because, can you imagine us trying to have a class and meet, and you go across campus or across town, you spend all this time coordinating, getting in there, we have a conversation, you leave and you get back home. And as opposed to having a quick half-hour discussion or 45-minute discussion and getting what you need and being done and creating a document online. So
Yeah, I think this is definitely a good experience.
yeah, it really is. And when you're in your interview and they ask you about online technologies, you can say, "Well, I know how to use Google Docs, cloud documents, and those kinds of things, as well as I've been parts of webinars and know how they work." And they're going to definitely expect that, so it'll be important. It'll definitely be important for you. So that's cool. So I'm going in here looking at our group, and so I think it's going to be a lot of work, but it shouldn't be too bad. I want to tell you all that these courses typically have 16 to 24 chapters. We have 10, and we're really spreading them out and keeping it concise. And I've boiled it down to some activities, and you've got to basically, you've got the core requirements of an essay. You take a basic quiz, and you do the discussion forum. And I think this should be very doable. I cut it back and streamlined it so you could go deeper in the discussions, and really kept it to a core set of chapters, as opposed to doing all the chapters in the book, which would have taken us, again, like I said, 16 to 24. Depends on the type of book that's used. And in this class, we could have been doing 18 chapters. So I really boiled it down, focusing it so you can drill in and go deeper and spend your time on that in the class. Emily, I think, where will these recordings go? It'll go, that's a good question. The recording, I'll put it in here, and I'll put it in, I'll basically create a module that just says recordings, and I'll post it in the announcement. I'll essentially put it out in the announcements, and you'll just go to the announcement and you'll be able to go listen to the recording. I'll do it that way. That keeps it kind of simple. Time management is going to be key in this class. You got it. And Genevieve, if you had a question, what would it be? Nervous for all the readings and the essays. When is the extra credit due by after the webinar? It's due within 2 days. I expect you to get it done in 2 days. And I would just, like, as soon as we're done, click, go in, answer the questions. won't take you about 15 minutes or less. Get it done and off your plate. I think that's the best thing to do. How long should essays be? It's an interesting thing. I'm experimenting with this, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what you all think. It looks, from what I can tell, because it's a technology, and what it does is it evaluates you and it gives me a report. I can override it, but essentially it is automatically grading you on your essay. And so what I want to do is I want to work with you all to get your opinion on how it works. So far, students have told me they really like it. Going to the length of it, I think about 1,000 to 1,500 words is about right for each of the essays. And yeah, so Irene, does that answer your question? Let me know there in your thing, and if you have any follow-up question to that. Yep, it's going to be a lot of work. I think it's manageable, like Casey said, and I gave you some tips there. Should be an interesting experience. Looking forward to it. 3 discussions, but worth 40% of the grade. 10 essays worth 20%. Read that right? And let me see here. Yep. And then you got the quizzes. So if you go in here, and if you go into the syllabus, let's go over here. And here, just to so essays 20%, quizzes 40%, discussion boards 40%. You end up with 100% right there. Extra credit, like tonight, doesn't get added into your points. I look at it at the very end, so you don't get penalized. If it was included, you could get penalized for not participating. So it's really more about extra points that you get at the very end that I look and I see if it can bump you up to the next grade level. Let me see here. And so, Kyle, tell me if there's anything else that you have there. If I answered your question, let me know. Here, just type yes or yeah, got it, it works. Or if there's a follow-up question you have. A lot of contribution work. It sounds like might be a lot of work, but it seems like it is feasible. Yeah, John, it is very feasible. I think, and the way I set up the class is you go through the week, finish on a Monday, so you can manage your weekend or enjoy your weekend, or work and get it all done before your weekend. We're working in that 2-week cycle. So the first week you post to the discussion board. The second week you dive in deeper, and there are no exams or quizzes basically. And then and Elizabeth says I'm new to all this, but it looks really fun. And how long should the discussion post for week 2 be? So that's a good question. And when you go in here, and you go into the modules, I have a link that tells you about what's expected, and it's about 1,500 words. But when you go into the discussion board that you have right here, you go into the discussion board here, and you come down here, what you'll see is right there, guidelines on how to complete each post. Click on that, and then what you'll see is I go through and provide a lot more detail, and I discuss this detail in the blurb, in the audio instructions up here. So if you go in, I kind of lay it out. I talk about 1,000 to 1,500 words, and your follow-up discussion should be about 100 to it's really 100 to 200 words is really what I'm looking for. It could be more if it needs to be, and that would really impress me, and that would influence the points you get. But when I'm looking at these quality follow-up posts with each other, I'm looking for that. And this kind of goes through all that there in terms of a lot of detail. So you can scroll through that document and see more. Let's see here. All right, so I think we're in pretty good shape in terms of questions and things that have been posed. So I want to come back to Casey. Casey, can you summarize for me how the discussion post process works from your understanding? I want to see if I explained it well.
So basically the first week we write our initial discussion, our initial response to the discussion questions, or whatever we have to type up. And then week 2 is when we respond to our group or our peers' post.
Great. And what's the key on that second week of the cycle? Because we're basically in a 2-week cycle, and then a 2-week cycle, and then a 2-week cycle. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 week, week 1 and 2, week 3 and 4, and week 5 and 6. So in that second week, what is your understanding of how to do that well?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay. So you can read down here. I talk about that. You need to dig deeper, and when you listen to this audio instructions up here, I go into detail around what I'm looking for. But what I want you to do is use your team, whatever team you're in 1 through 7. Use your team as a think tank, and so your goal is to try to figure out a way to take your learning further, give you some practical tools, or extend your thinking in some fashion. And so to do that, what you want to do is be a great conversationalist in week 2. I want to see your conversationalist skills. And that means you might come to the group and take a person and look at what they wrote and and reflect on it, type a little reflection on what your takeaway was from what they wrote, and maybe disagree or pose a different question or ask them to elaborate. You might bring a problem. Another option is bring a challenge to the group and say, hey, we're studying this topic and I have a question that really relates to this in terms of my job or my future career or a problem I'm facing. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that and get the group talking with you about it and get the group elaborating. You also might just go in and compliment somebody and give them a really good summary of what you saw them doing and so forth. But you really want to try to pose a question or take it a little bit further or get a reaction. And I want to see who's really great at causing conversation. Second piece is I want to make sure that I'm seeing 3 quality posts in addition to the original one. And if there's if you post a yes or I think so or something like that, you need to do that sometimes, like post that. You can post 15 times or 5 times or 8 times. As long as what I'm looking for is 3 of those 8, 3 of those 10 are quality reflections, elaborations, or explanations, or explorations, or advice giving, or whatever it might be. So you're going to probably need to say, hey, tell me a little bit more about that. And the person will tell you a little bit more. And then you might say, this is what I'm hearing you say. And then I can see in your posts, that you've really taken the conversation deeper. So the challenge to you all is to be good conversationalists. Courtney, tell me, summarize based on what I said, what are you going to do in week 1 and week 2?
So week 1, we are gonna post our original post, which you're still talking about the discussion posts, right?
Right.
And what we're gonna be doing with those. And then week 2, we have to kind of respond, but make it meaningful, and kind of put in our own point of view to get other people thinking.
And you want to cause a conversation.
We'll actually have.
The key thing, Courtney, is to cause a conversation to happen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you want to add anything to what we've talked about here?
No, I think you covered it all.
Okay. Great. So Elizabeth, let me ask you another question. In terms of the doing the essay and the quiz, the other 2 assignments, do you have any questions? How have you checked in or looked at those? How is that looking to you, and any questions?
I looked into it a little bit. I know the essay should be like 1 to 3 pages, and I did like the practice question before the quiz, but that's as far as I've gotten.
Okay. Does it seem pretty straightforward?
Yeah, so far I think so.
Okay. Casey, how about you? How does it look doing the essays and the quiz and using the Cengage material in MindTap?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I did have a question. On the first discussion, or like the first essay, is that topic? Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, I can click there if you want.
It was the,
This one here, social responsibility.
yeah, that one.
Okay, what about it?
I mean, do you just want us to like look or like go through our readings and stuff first and then respond to that? Like,
Oh,
or
this
do you want us to do like outside
no, that's a good
research?
question. This is a practice essay for extra credit. This is you got to practice what would you do. This is actually for a grade, so
Okay.
that counts. But you got to practice what would you do, practice essay, and a practice quiz. I did those. You just go in and just answer it, just off the top of your head, answer it, and just kind of get used to using the technology and figuring out what it does and how it grades you and so forth. It's the GMAT
Okay,
GRE
maybe.
software is what it is that does that. When you read up here, you'll read about how it was created and that kind of thing. So I'm going to be very curious at how good you think it is and how fair it is and how it does in helping you all to get, a good learning experience. So that's
For the organizational change one, then, is that just something that you want us to go through and like read read the module information and then
yep.
respond to the question, or do you want us to find the outside or
No,
like the
no,
three?
use the material from the resource and then your own opinion
Okay.
and thoughts and experiences for that.
Okay.
Unless it specifically suggests you need to go somewhere, you don't need to. I'm expecting you to pull key terms and concepts from the reading into your response. Weave it into
Okay.
your response in some creative way.
Okay.
Okay. Good questions. Good questions. Let me go to the discussion board to see if there's. Okay, I think everybody's in good shape. So I think so. Let's see here. Anybody else have a question? You want to raise your hand? I'll bring you in. Is anybody else out there? Kyle, Tamia, Julie, John. Anybody else have a question? No. Okay. So I think then things are pretty straightforward for you all. It seems. What I'm going to do is I'll have one each 2 weeks, another of these webinar sessions to check in with you. You can always post to the Canvas inbox to let me know you have a question or a need, and I'll make sure I address that. And I can also hold additional webinars if you all feel you need that. Just let me know from your group discussion. And I think as you get into things, let me know how it's going. And yeah, everything's looking pretty good. So I'd like the last question is what is your takeaway from tonight? Takeaway, maybe what's an action you're going to take, or what advice do you have for me as we move forward? Okay, so what's a takeaway? Maybe what's an action you're going to take as a result of tonight, or what advice do you have? So I'll start with Casey. So Casey, what would you say? What's some of your takeaway, advice, or action?
I think just some of what I learned tonight is just more information about the essays and like the discussions on how long it needs to be and what you're looking for in each of the things, like the quality and like the questions. We need to dig deeper into other people's posts, and the essays should be mostly from all the readings unless it states that we need to look for an outside source.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm taking away from tonight.
Any advice for me?
Take it easy on us. It's summer.
Yeah, I think I already started, and so by cutting down the chapters. But I know what you're saying. I got to maintain the integrity of the program in the school while at the same time recognizing it's 6 weeks and it is summer. So I appreciate that. Courtney, how about you? Takeaways, action, advice.
A lot of the stuff that I'm taking away from this is just about the time management and kind of staying on top of things and starting early in the week and finishing early in the week instead of waiting until the last minute, because this class does require a lot, and we will be doing a lot of reading and writing and analyzing things, and just to kind of help others basically learn the information too. start the conversation, just to try to get your classmates engaged, even though we're not in person, but still online.
Mm-hmm. Great. Elizabeth, how about you?
I'm taking away that I need to get a little more organized and figure out how to manage my time in order to get everything completed by the time it's due.
Gotcha. Okay. And
Yeah.
looks like everybody's in pretty good shape for right now. I appreciate you all coming tonight. And the takeaways from others are start the assignments beginning of the week, spread it out. And one of the key things to keep in mind, everybody, is when you're writing your essay or writing your discussion forum, write them in a separate document and then cut and paste it in. So if something happens with your connection, you don't lose all the work. There'll be a lot of writing. Start early. Do the practice essay to see how it works. So practicing with stuff. Use the list view in MindTap software. I found it's easier to use. The discussion requirements are more clear. I also think it's smart to get the work done early. I'm excited for the class. And so in general, I think, let's see here, how to manage time, to go back to work, finish at the beginning of the week, don't procrastinate, read the assignments, maybe make deadlines for myself or yourself, get more organized and manage time. So I think everybody just really needs to, and all of you that are here are taking initiative. So I suspect you're going to do just fine. And again, if you have any questions or needs, go on to Canvas inbox and let me know. And other than that, have a great evening. We'll do another one of these. It's really good to have you all here, and I'm looking forward to learning with you this semester. And so with that, I'll say good night and bye for now.